Hi, I'm Erin Wilson with Best Life Physical Therapy, and today we're going to talk about the abdomen and the abdominal muscles and how we can use our hands as biofeedback to help us to turn these muscles on appropriately. So firstly, I'd like you to just go ahead and do this with me. Take your hands and place them on the rib cage. So we're going to go right here, because breathing, it really affects the way that the abdominal muscles work. So what we're going to do is place our fingers on the rib cage, the lower ribs here, and what I'd like you to do is go ahead and take a breath in and watch what happens to those ribs as you inhale. And this is what's supposed to happen to those lower lobes of the lungs. They inflate, and as you exhale, they deflate and the ribs come back together. Now this should be a 360-degree motion where you're noticing motion back here in the thumbs as well as forward in the fingers. So you inhale and you exhale. And you should get symmetrical motion. If you're not getting symmetrical motion, then you need to bring that up with your therapist at your next session, and we can work toward getting you symmetrical motion. So if you're not getting any motion or much motion at all, it could be because of an external oblique dominance. The external oblique muscles are these muscles that they connect from here to here. So they actually connect kind of into the linea alba in the front, in the middle, and their job is really to do three things. It is to do side bending. You can actually see these muscles contracting as I go into side bending. They do rotation. You can see them contracting as I go into rotation. And they also do flexion. And you can see with that flexion, especially the flexion motion, you can see this line create here, this little crease. And so when we see this crease as therapists, we know that the person is what we call external oblique dominant. And what that really means is that when someone is contracting their muscles dominant with the external obliques, it really shuts down the transverse abdominis. So the transverse abdominis is a deeper muscle, and it's really part of the core. It's what we are talking about when we say engage your core. So a lot of times what we'll have people do is actually contract the pelvic floor muscles. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna close my openings. I'm gonna act like an internal vacuum, and I'm gonna contract the muscles that would stop the flow of urine and hold back gas. And as I do that, it actually just automatically turns on the transverse abdominis muscles that are connected, and they connect all the way around back here. When I turn on those transverse abdominis muscles, it actually creates a lovely corset action for me and gives me a flatter appearance of my abdominal muscles. You know that I'm not contracting the external obliques, and I'm not being external oblique dominant right now because you don't see that crease that I was talking about earlier. So I'm just going to relax those muscles for a second. I'm placing my fingers right here, and I'm going to create that crease. There's the crease that's contracting the external oblique muscles, which the external oblique muscles are not responsible for creating that corset, which makes us look slim. The muscles that are responsible for creating that corset are the pelvic floor muscles and the transverse abdominis muscles. So what we want to do is use our hands as biofeedback, because the muscles, the external oblique muscles right here create that crease right there, and that actually doesn't give us a lovely appearance. The thing that actually gives us the better appearance is the drawing in motion from the pelvic floor, and see that slimmer silhouette. So it's not all about appearances, but for some people it is about appearances, and it's what we think about, oh, I can't walk around without clenching my abdominal muscles because I want to appear to have a thin silhouette. Well, the way to actually get that is to let go of this external oblique and this gripping motion and create that connection from the pelvic floor and the drawing in of the abdominal muscles, the transverse abdominis muscle. So I also want to show you one other thing about breathing in this position. So right now you can tell I don't have my crease So I've got my pelvic floor muscles and I've got my transverse abdominis muscles drawing in. And now I'm gonna show you how I can breathe while I'm connecting those muscles there. So I'm gonna inhale again and exhale. You can still see that change in the motion, inhaling and exhaling. Now, just for the sake of argument, let's see what happens when we create that crease and that gripping motion. So there's my crease. I know I've got external oblique dominance right now. I'm gonna try to breathe while I've got that pulled in. And exhale. Nothing is happening. So that is not appropriate. We don't want, those external oblique muscles are locking the ribs down and preventing breath, preventing you from actually getting oxygen and breathing. So what we wanna do is try to get rid of this crease here. Relax, inhale to prepare. As we exhale, close the openings in the pelvic floor, draw the belly button in toward the spine. It takes a couple of seconds to build that tension, and you can see I've created that lovely silhouette by doing that. And there is no crease through here, okay? So the crease is what we're gonna use our fingers for to monitor, so we don't want that crease. And then the thing to know about this is it's all good and everything if you can figure out how to do it one time, but it doesn't make any difference unless it has carryover. So throughout the challenge I'd like to present to you in the next week or so is to walk around every now and then, give yourself a little touch here. Or is it nice and relaxed and gentle here? Do we have that lovely silhouette? Is the pelvic floor turned on? Or have I gotten back into that creasing? And you'll know, because this is a gripping kind of a feel. It doesn't feel normal, and it might feel normal for you right now actually because you've been doing it that way, but what is actually more natural is to go back to the way we were supposed to function, which is to use the pelvic floor muscles drawing in, and we've got that nice draw in, and you can see the nice silhouette without creating that crease right there. So use your fingers as biofeedback. Make sure you get the lungs to be able to move as you take a breath, and that's a much better appearance of the abdomen. So I am Erin Wilson, again with Best Life Physical Therapy, and this is how to change from external oblique dominance into transverse abdominis, which is what we prefer for your core.